Yeah. Please tell me that I can't, that I won't, that I fail.
Welcome back to the Sports Ranter, home of your favorite fantasy football hooligans, here to help you humiliate your friends, family, neighbors, co-workers, everybody. That's what we're here for. Thank you, hosts, for joining us, Nico, Drew, and Jake. Here after week 10, really exciting things happening. But like I said, we're still alive. We're here. We want to get you updated real quick and just hop right into the league standings that we got going on. Yours truly, we have three of your hosts all in second place in the division, and Drew is still hanging in there, I think. Right, Drew?
Yeah,
I think you're. So we're still alive. I think we're all still alive. But wow, Jake, what's up, man? I think our division's pretty close. You guys are still hanging in there. What's going to happen this week for you to get a win?
dude, like what a roller coaster! Like starting out 3-0 and then losing 5 straight, and then winning 2 in a row, winning one last night by like 3 points. This league has been like just ridiculous because I haven't lost. The thing is, I haven't lost my. I drafted Amon-Ra first. Devon A-Chain second. I think Debo Samuel the third. I lost him for a few weeks, but it's just I haven't had these blow up games. Devon A-Chain lost Tua, and he wasn't really that relevant. And Amon-Ra just like every week I keep thinking like he's just gonna have this breakout week, and it's just kind of like he's been okay. But Amon-Ra for me, I think. I just had my lineup up, but it's like I drafted him. I forget what position I drafted, but I think he was third receiver off the board or whatever, third or fourth. He's seventh now. He's kind of catching up, but I don't know. He doesn't have those boom games. My streaming defenses have just been awful. If they're not getting me no points, they're getting me negative points. And then I unfortunately I was waiting for the final word on Juwan Jennings this week, and thinking he's going to play, but I forgot that Jacksonville played early, and I left in Parker Washington in that last flex. So I woke up halfway through the game, and I'm like, shit, I left that guy in. But crawling black slowly but surely. I haven't really been hit by a lot of injury bugs, just inconsistency. Hoping to make a push. So we'll just kind of see how she rolls, baby.
Drew, you were hanging in there strong in the beginning. What does it think happened in your situation?
It's just like Jake's situation. I mean, start off 3-0, then you lose 5 straight, right? And then
wow.
But at the end of the day, I'm right there. If Jake and Speed lose one game, I'm right there. I'm above Jake in total points, so it's
right.
Don't slip. I'm right there. I'm banging on the door knocking. So
I'm aware.
Isaiah Pacheco's coming back any week. So I mean, Pacheco was a huge loss for me early. So I mean, I like the way my team's starting to roll here in the last couple of weeks in the final stretch. I think it's going to come down to these division games to figure out who's going to be the winner. But I'll be ready.
Nico, you're still the number 1 points for, strong. But it's tough to scratch away some wins.
Nick, what's going on?
What's happening?
I don't.
This is supposed to be your year, bro.
Well, it was last year. I'm going back to back, and I have the best team, but the record doesn't show it. So I don't even know what to do. I mean, I have over 1,500 points. There's only one other person that even has 14, and barely by 1405. Everybody else is way below me, and I can't scratch wins together. I don't understand. I mean, this week I didn't do like too good, but like I haven't had the luck on my side. It's not that like I have all these points. It doesn't make sense because I don't have like the most points for either or points against, but like you would just think with how many points I'm scoring.
It seems like with the because Nick, you have an extra flex in a PPR. It seems like with that extra flex, if any certain team has, 1 or 2 weeks where, you got an extra guy in your lineup that goes off, the point disparity, I feel like gets to be more and more. Because like I look like in my league, we don't have that extra flex, and it's just it's a lot. It feels like a lot tighter. So because I was thinking about that, I was looking at our standings before, and the point disparity, and I feel like maybe that extra flex is just a team that has 1 or 2 of those blow up games with that extra spot. It just can widen that disparity.
I mean, you make a lot of sense, except that's not my team, Gabe. So I have 3 losses with scoring 150 points. So my
Oh,
team
damn. So
is
it's just bad luck.
my yeah. So I'm saying, so I lost by 10 points this week, having a down week. So I was hoping. It's just weird because yes, you could say bad luck, like, oh, I'm just playing, you know, a better squad that week. But when you look at my points against, right, I'm middle of the pack. So it's not like everybody's having high week
Yeah.
against me, but I'm also scoring really good. So I don't know what the hell's going on. Like I just whatever the matchup is that week, I can't squeak away the wins consistently. Obviously, I'm still the good thing is about being points leader is I just gotta get in and I just got
Yeah.
as of right now.
Yeah,
So
you get the tiebreaker on
so
everything.
I'm fine with that. But the fact that I'm 5-5 and I don't get a tiebreaker if I lose by a game. So I need to still stack the wins with 4 weeks left. I like my team. I mean, I lost a couple guys through injuries, but not like Jake was saying, not anything to like bust my team open or nothing. So I still got a solid starting squad, and what's good is those last 3 games. The way we set up our league for those viewers is your first 3 weeks and your last 3 weeks are against your division rivals in our league.
Yeah.
So they make it really crucial. And this year in our league, it's gonna come down to those wires. So I'm glad I've always set it up that way. It's just like realistic. It's just like real life, and it's gonna be an exciting final 4 weeks here for our league.
Yeah.
No, that's what I love about this time is it really is crunch time. It's going to come down to the last game in both divisions, in both leagues. Like I said, I'm right there in Jake's league. Well, it's going to come down to, I think I'm in first place. Oh no, I'm in last place in 5-5, but James is in our division. But James is in first place in 5-5 in his division. And so it's just, oh my gosh, the whole field is pretty darn close, and it's going to go all the way down to the nitty gritty. And so, real quick before we keep going here, I want to say thank you, Jesus and Seth, for joining us here today. Thank you for commenting. But Drew, we got to get into waiver wires. It's getting close. Bye weeks are happening. Like Nico said, Bye Mageddon, it's on its way. With so many teams coming out, injuries are still bad. I mean, my gosh, I'm feeling it with our league. With my receivers kind of hurting. So, anyways, what can we do this week to help your team get a win, squeak out these wins?
There's quite a bit of bye weeks right now. I know that for me, I have I mean, in a few other leagues, I want to say I think I have like 4 players on buys. So I know they're floating out there quite a bit. Bad news is they're still not like the waiver wire is still not the best. If you're looking for like a running back fill-in, I mean, Estime was getting quite a bit of workload. Obviously, Gus Edwards is somebody who came back from our IR last week, got 10 carries, 55 yards, didn't fall in the end zone, but if he does, that makes it a pretty good week. So he's one of those guys that can always fall in the end zone. That's somebody I'd look to add. I mentioned it earlier. I mean, it's kind of rare that somebody's going to drop Isaiah Pacheco, but if he's there, I mean, pick him up, take a look, see it just in case. You never know in your league. Mike Williams is somebody who just got to the Steelers, but he already made an impact, got a touchdown, got the game-winning touchdown. Russell Wilson's a good deep ball thrower, somebody to keep an eye on. Other than that, man, it's kind of thin. MVS with New Orleans, with all their receivers banged up. Obviously, Olave's out, and they don't have, they haven't had much receiver help at all over there. So with Derek Carr, I like him to sling the ball kind of far down the field. MVS is somebody I'd look into if you're really desperate. Troy Franklin and Bo Nix has had a decent connection the last couple weeks. But other than that, just kind of skimming through here, there's nothing that really sticks out to me as other than that. Yeah, that's about it, really.
All right. Well, I'm gonna toot my horn real quick and put out some waiver wire pickups, especially in the tight end position. If you're really hurting and if you're really not liking the guy that you have and he's not consistent, I think up on the rise right now is rookie Jatavian Sanders with the Carolina Panthers. There's something going on. There's a connection with his yardage and touchdowns happening last week, and I think they're just going to move forward with this trend the rest of the season. Just try to get the kids to play, try to see if they make it happen, and also rookie Jalen Coker, wide receiver. I'm hurting right now with Olave still out, Diggs, Nico Collins still in the. There's so many situations happening with the receiver, and so I'm dependent on Alex Pierce in our league to get a win, and it's just it's just so dry sometimes, even a receiver right now. So I'd even if you need the help, look even that deep to Carolina. And Nick, real quick, Jesus wanted to say that I don't know if you see the comments here, but when you're talking about being the best and not winning, you sound a lot like Aaron Rodgers. He just wanted to mention that. So
Brutal.
So
Brutal.
I'm not a douchebag though, so
that's true. But anyways, if you guys have any other waiver wire additions, Jake or Nick,
just I don't know. I would say obviously unless there's a crucial injury, and during the week, and there's somebody's backup to pick up. No, the waiver wire is thin right now. We all kind of know where things are at, but I would start looking at teams that are kind of out of it. That for example, the Jets, they're out of it. They know they're out of it. Maybe they need to get one more loss or whatever, but they're not going to be killing Breece Hall, when they're out of it, for the rest of the season. So maybe look at Braylon Allen. There's a few other teams, same way. Look at some of these backups where, maybe these franchises are kind of saving their guys. The Cowboys, for example, I would start looking at those, those other receivers. I promise you in 2 weeks, CeeDee Lamb's going to have a injury where, he's on IR the rest of the season. Cause what's the point of risking him out there, So that's really all you can do. If there's not some crucial injury, to where a team's got to go to a backup, you're kind of rolling the dice. You're kind of, but give me some of those guys that, you're kind of looking ahead, projecting to come in, because I don't know, teams just don't do that anymore with the long seasons and the shortened off season. They're not going to kill their stars for a season that's lost. So be looking at those teams and looking at those backups.
One more just mention, because you did talk about the Cowboys. If you're able to pick up the Texans defense, pick them up, because they're playing against the Cowboys, and I don't know if it's going to be Trey Lance or Cooper Rush or whoever it's going to be, but Texans defense is going to look pretty damn good when it comes to the points this week.
I would just like to add, if you need, so when the waiver wire is really thin and you have all these buys or whatever, I just go for the boom guy. You might get a 1, you might get a 2, but again, this is not a guy you're probably going to keep the rest of the year. You're spot playing them. Couple that come to mind, obviously, like Trey Tucker on the Raiders. He's had 2 20-point games, but nothing after that. But that potential's there. They're coming off a bye week. They're changing offensive coordinators. And I think part of it is got to get the playmakers the ball. And they do love Trey Tucker. He's won Marvin Mims for Denver, too. Again, you're going to risk getting a 2. That's what you got to live with. But with what you're picking up, you can also possibly get an 18, and they can win you the league. You can get a 20. So those are the guys there is no safe pickup anymore on the waiver wire because it's so thin. So look at a guy who's actually in the offense. Look up his utility. If he plays 60% of the offensive snaps, there's a good shot he might just catch a 50-yard touchdown. He's in there, So look at the utilization of the players. Like Trey Tucker, he doesn't get much on the Raiders, but he's on the field all day long. He's going to break one. I guarantee he's going to break one, these next couple weeks. Like he's gonna get a touchdown, and I'll say it on the show once he does. There's just guys like that you want to pick up. Marvin Mims is another one. Like he in the last 4 games, if you might randomly pick him up, and that might be the week he's finally scores his 160-yard touchdown of the year. So just look for players like that. And there's other players. You just got to look at the number 3 receivers on a lot of teams, the small, speedy guys, and you might just get lucky because that's what it takes in fantasy. Just pick up a guy that will catch a 40-yard touchdown, and boom, he wins you your week somehow.
Yeah, I mean Ricky Pearsall's in that conversation too. Ricky Pearsall's he's getting active, and the 49ers are definitely trying to get him acclimated before playoffs. So, I mean, that's something to definitely keep your eye on, especially with all these other injuries that we've been having with receiver-wise and just a little stash there with the bye weeks. We got a couple more bye weeks coming up too, so.
Well, you know what? That's what makes this thing so nerve-wracking, so tense, is that this is so close. We've already discussed how close both leagues are, and it's going to come down to depending on guys like this. Home run guys that may or may not get a shot. So that's what's so tough about it this particular year. And so, man, I love that feeling. I think we've had that feeling a few times in the past where you're going into the playoffs and your team is just strong. You got no injuries and everything is working well. And I miss those days, but it's just not happening for I don't think anybody this year. So, but we got to keep hanging in there, right, guys? We're not going to quit. Like I said, I called it 3 weeks ago, Jake, when you're ready to give up, right? I forget what it was. Like you were so
I tell you, losing 5 in a row is tough, but it's just, I mean, you just never know. Like it's gonna turn, and hopefully it turns, but just keep trying to make the best decisions, and nothing's guaranteed. It's fantasy football, nothing's guaranteed. But I had a 2-point lead against, I think it was Christian last night. I had Devon A-Chain. He had Raheem Mostert. I thought it was a lock. And, I mean, it was just barely a win. But you never know. So just keep pressing, man.
Keep pressing. Well, we're going to move on forward and talk about the NFL playoff picture. Okay, it looks wild to me, you guys. I don't know if this is correct, if this is what we're looking at. We were talking last week that it's kind of a shoo-in already with some divisions, but if Drew, if you'll start us off, team number 4 is not the Niners. Okay, so just wondering what's going on.
I mean, Arizona's got a good offense, man, and I feel like with that defense over their head coach going over there, it's making their defense a little bit better. But at the end of the day, like I've been saying this whole time, I don't see Arizona as like a true threat to win that division. Are they a good team? Yes. Is Kyler Murray playing great? Yes, he is. But I think I think the second time the 49ers will come back around, they'll beat them. But they're definitely playing the good ball. I mean, I just don't see them. If they win the NFC West, I'd be pretty surprised. That's all I'm going to say. I'll be really surprised if they win the NFC West.
Okay.
I think there's a chance for them to be a wild card, but I see them fizzling out. Like I said last week, I see them fizzling out. There's a couple teams in that playoff bracket that I definitely see fizzling out. Yeah, I mean the Eagles are going to stay there. Commanders are going to stay there. That NFC North will probably get 2 teams out for the playoffs. Same thing with the NFC East. And, that's kind of like where I see it going.
Let's just talk about this. Jake, I'm going to pass this to you just to open this thing up. It kind of connects with the last topic that we got for today. Let's just open this shit up and get this going, you guys. AFC, the Chiefs. Are we already going to name the Chiefs Super Bowl contender after this week? Are we going to call it right now? After all the things that we're seeing and we're watching, all the conspiracies, the help they get from the refs, Andy Reid, the best defense, Pat Mahomes, it was a great block last week. I'm not hating, okay? But what's going to happen, Jake? Tell us what's going to happen right here and right now.
I mean, it's like there's no flag, there's no call when Denver has to make a field goal, to win the game. It was odd to me that Denver didn't line up more, like they stacked the left side of the line when they came into rush. But am I gonna say that like that? I don't know. It's rigged or whatever. No, it's funny because I was listening to a podcast today, and they were talking about the Bills and the Chiefs playing this week, and they're like, and they said like, they said this is going to be the game. The Bills are the one team that can knock off the Chiefs, and even they joked, and they were like, we'll see how the refs figure out how to get the Chiefs past the finish line. And this was the fantasy footballers. Like this wasn't some no-name thing. So like it's clearly out there. It's not like it's some conspiracy thing that only a few nut jobs think. Like I think everybody kind of sees it. But honestly, like it's hard. We all think that like this, it's like, oh, it's the refs and these penalties because Mahomes and the offense get all this, all these calls or whatever. The defense has been the one that's winning them games. Like their defense is incredible. And is there one team in the AFC that I think could beat them? I do think if the receiving core is healthy with Buffalo, the way they've changed their offense is just defense and run the ball, control the clock. I do think that is tailor-made to kind of, keep up with the Chiefs. There's just nothing inside of me, though, from the last few years, what I've seen with Mahomes and some of these penalties. Like, there's no way I'm going to say that Buffalo's going to beat him. Like, I just can't, because it's going to be some flag. It's going to be some stupid penalty. And the thing is like, I hate like the conspiracy theorists. I don't. I want to believe that like all our sports, baseball, everything, like it's all true and all that. But there's just not a part of me that believes like no matter how good Buffalo or the Ravens or anybody else plays, the Steelers, that they're going to get past the Chiefs. Like it's just hard to say. But it's we'll see. I do think if there's a team though, I think it's Buffalo. I think the way that they've changed their offense to where they're just grind. It's kind of the way the Chiefs have changed their offense. So that'll be a fun game to watch this week. But I'm not prepared to say like it's a conspiracy theory. But again, I do think the NFL knows what makes the money, and I do think that that trickles into the games, and but we'll see what happens. But I wouldn't be surprised next week if we were doing this podcast and the Chiefs come back late in the fourth and they win it by XYZ and it was because of one call or whatever. So we'll see.
Nick, what do you think is going to happen?
It's tough to say. I think they're gonna get beat. I just like we said it last week. Like
Chiefs or Bills?
The Chiefs. I mean maybe not this week, but I don't think they're gonna win it. Like it's so hard to win 3 in a row, and you need everything to go their way, and so far it has. But we saw the Patriots there, even when they were undefeated. Like I thought there was no way in hell the Patriots were gonna lose that year. The Giants somehow hold the Patriots to 14 points. Like there's so much stuff that has to happen, and I just the way they're playing, and I just think they got that target on their back, and their luck's gonna run out eventually. Like I can't give you the X's and O's. Going on Jake's point, it's not a conspiracy. It's just the refs make it easier. We saw it with the Patriots. It's no ifs, ands, buts about it. You got to overcome it to beat them, but it is easier for them. And it's not even the calls themselves; it's also the non-calls. They've played they played 2 Super Bowls against the Niners and then getting that one holding call.
Right.
Right. That doesn't make it in. The Niners have one of the best D lines, if not the best D line in the league when they've made the Super Bowls. And you're telling me their O-line, who can't even make a Pro Bowl, is not holding these guys? Like it's those kind of things. And even their defense, like, oh, they're amazing. Okay, they're probably just as handsy as everybody else, but they don't get no defensive penalties called on them. They don't get no illegal contact. They don't get no PI because why? Oh, they're great.
The non-calls this year on the Chiefs defense have been like egregious. Like it's out of this world.
it's like, oh, Bill Belichick's defense is the mastermind, and I'm not trying to diminish it. They're great. They have great game plans. Their players make plays, but again, when the other team, who's already not as elite, has to also overcome not only them coming ready to play in their best game, now they have to overcome two or three calls in the game. It makes it tough.
Yeah.
But I wanted to rant on the Steelers a little bit. Can we just stop on the Mike Tomlin thing? Like, can we just all just say he's a great coach and stop putting
Oh,
him in the hot seat every damn year? Can we just stop? Like, I hate hearing
I've
it.
never, dude. I've never put
No,
that
no,
guy in
not
the
you
hot. That
guys.
guy
I'm
is
just saying
amazing.
in general. In general, every year they're like, oh, I know he only has the one Super Bowl. I get it, but again, because it is really hard to win this league, and it's not like he's had a great quarterback, and that you could kind of put a little bit on that. But what he does year in and year out, being a Raider fan, I'm like, all these people want to get rid of Tomlin. I would love Tomlin. I would love to have a winning record every single year and be in the playoffs and have a shot. Yes, he
Anybody
hasn't been
that's
through.
anybody that
But
questions
yeah,
Tomlin
talk
or
to a
gives it
Raider
is
fan,
crazy.
talk to a Jet fan, talk to the Lions before the last couple of years, talk to anybody. Dude, this is a dream coach to have for an organization. And I feel like every year before the year, they talk about the hot seat. And we even talked about it. I said this was the year that he was finally gonna have a losing record. This was the year the Steelers are finally gonna suck. And here they are. What are they? Fucking 7-2? Like,
Oh, yeah,
get
7-2.
with
And
Justin
hey,
Fields and Russell Wilson.
and
Get the hell out of here.
Tomlin is the guy. Tomlin is the guy that benches Justin Fields after Fields won these games, had a winning record because he knew what direction he wanted to take the offense. Like, I don't know who's giving Tomlin any shit, but
Well,
there is
not this year, but
there's probably
every off season, it's
yeah,
it's
oh yeah,
talk and do they need a
25,
different
25
voice?
out of the 32 teams in this league should be begging Tom, begging.
I ultimate respect to that guy. That's
Yeah,
what he's
100%.
done this year. I mean, I already liked him to begin with, but what he's done this year has completely solidified his greatness. I get it. He only has one Super Bowl,
Absolutely.
but just I don't judge people on rings because I know how much it takes so much to happen and go your way. But it's ridiculous what they're doing this year. Is utterly surprising in my mind, and the Steelers are honestly they're a team that can beat the Chiefs now. In my mind,
The thing
I
is,
think
yeah,
the
they look
defense, the way that defense
convincingly
plays,
good.
and if Russell Wilson could throw a couple moon balls, hey, I could see them beating up on the Chiefs because they're not going to be afraid physically. They're
No,
not going to be able to push the Steelers around.
All
So
right.
those are the teams that the Lions, the Bills, if they come to play, the Steelers, someone who can push them around.
All right, Drew.
yo,
I'm trying to find some sympathy for you. Okay, as a football fan, Panther wise, you guys have got my coach fired on public television. All right, you guys took McCaffrey. Right, it's in your banner right now. So I don't really have much love for you. When I had love for the San Diego Chargers, the Super Bowl '94, it was the Niners, and the biggest ass whooping on public television history. Right, so I have a lot of it's hard for me to find sympathy for the Niners. It really is. But you've experienced this twice, right? In the Super Bowl, correct? Like
three
this
times.
this whole Chiefs thing, right?
Yeah.
The Chiefs thing.
This whole Chiefs thing. And it's just like we've seen it live twice now against the Niners. And so I almost feel like what if it was a three-peat against the Niners, and it happened again. Like, oh my gosh, that would but still, dude, it's like what do you think what's going on with these Chiefs?
It's tough. I mean, it's hard because for me, I don't have. I've never been that type of guy where the compares like conspiracy theories or refs or this, that, and the other. But I mean, you guys have seen the pictures by now in Super Bowls, like where you saw Nick Bosa literally just get like completely like his whole body is gone in a whole different direction while he's charging at Mahomes in a key third down situation in the Super Bowl, and they don't call it. And I mean, like we've seen all of it. I mean, it's tough as far as But last year Super Bowl, last year's Super Bowl we should have won. You know, that's really what it comes down to. We killed ourselves in that game. You know, we did. You know, I can't even like say, oh, like I can't point to one thing or this, that, and the other. Like we should have won that Super Bowl. But no, I mean like I don't really know what to say. Like because with Mahomes, and I'm not gonna discount his greatness. Like he is amazing, dude. Like the guy is unreal. You know what I mean? And it doesn't matter who's on his team. Doesn't matter. I mean, the guy just gets it done. Like week in, week out. I like to go into Jake's or Nick's comment with the whole Mike Tomlin thing. I think like coaches like that are just don't get enough credit. You know what I mean? Like they just don't. And especially a guy like Mike Tomlin. Like really quickly, because I thought it was pretty wild, and we talked about it. I thought I would have played Justin Fields continuing. He's 4-2, but there was absolutely zero chance that Justin Fields would have won that game last week or this Sunday. That throw that Russell Wilson made to Mike Williams, Justin Fields don't make that throw, and so it's like it's just a huge credit to Mike Tomlin to be like, you know what? Yeah, he might be winning games, but he's not going to put us over the top. And I think not a lot of coaches got balls to do that, especially when they're, you know, like in today's how it is. You know what I mean? Because most coaches are there for what, maybe 3 years, and if you don't win, you're out. And it's like to make a call from 4-2 to go to a quarterback who basically everybody thinks is kind of like done. Like Russell Wilson's not somebody that's like, oh yeah, everybody's like, oh, Russell Wilson's a shit. No, dude. Ever since he's left Seattle, and even his last 2 years in Seattle, everybody's like, Russell Wilson's falling off. Russell Wilson's this. But if you look at his stats, Russell Wilson was actually pretty damn good and with Denver last year. It's just the team around him wasn't that great. And he goes there and he's looking like he's a legit quarterback again. With the way that he's throwing the ball and the way that he's moving around the pocket, he looks like, you know, 2.0 Russell Wilson right now. He's definitely rejuvenated. So that's just kind of just going on Nick's comment, man. Like, shout out to Mike Tomlin, bro. That dude is unreal right now.
Okay. I want to say one thing about Mike Tomlin too. In all the years we've all been watching football, I guarantee you, I bet any amount of money, not one of us, not one time can ever remember a player of Mike Tomlin or a former player coming out and having anything bad to say about Mike Tomlin. Just today, you had I forget who it was on the Dallas Cowboys when they asked about the future of Mike McCarthy, and they said like, I don't really care about Mike McCarthy, like I care more about guys. I think it was CeeDee Lamb, like guys like Zach Martin. We want to win for them or whatever. But like nobody has ever one time you've never heard one bad thing from the locker room about Mike Tomlin, and that says a lot. Like if you can keep together a locker room during thick and thin, that says a lot.
Jesus says that losing a Super Bowl is worse than never getting to one.
100%.
No.
Bro,
I don't think so. I don't think so.
Horrendous.
No. I don't think so.
The Super Bowl fucking sucks.
Yes,
it's
no.
Are you talking for legacy or just feeling?
I'm pretty sure it's a feeling.
As a fan?
No,
you want a shot.
Give me to the Super Bowl, man.
Get me there.
That's what you guys say now.
No, I saw my Raiders lose to the Buccaneers, and I would not say. I'll tell you what's worse. The Tuck rule and losing the playoff and not having the chance to be in that Super Bowl. That is worse. When you just give me the chance. Give me the chance. I want to be on that field. I don't want to get screwed before. I don't want to lose in the playoffs. Get me in that Super Bowl. And I believe we would have won that year. A better team.
Feeling, of course, the feeling is worse because you're at the biggest shot. But as far as your legacy goes, anybody, that's the whole goal at the beginning of the year is get to the Super Bowl. Like, as far as my legacy goes, it's worse never getting there than to get there and lose. You know, but yeah, of course, feeling is worse. Like, absolutely.
It depends on the legacy thing because they hold it against LeBron, so you might have to talk to reporters about that.
Yeah, but he's an asshole.
No, I get it, but honestly, there's like Jordan's better because he's, and I'm not gonna have a basketball debate, but I'm just proving your point. Is like they say Jordan's better because he's 6-0, but LeBron went to 10. So what's better, going to just 6 and winning them all, or going to 10 and losing. You see what I mean? So like
Going to
my
six with
thing
one.
is,
Going
so
to six with one team.
the whole point is, would it have been better for LeBron's legacy to just go to 5 and win them all, and then get and losing in the playoffs all those other years he made the finals? You see what I mean? So
If he went,
that's
if he went with the one team he started with, it'd be absolutely. But he had to bounce around, create super
he
teams.
went with that team and it got swept by the Spurs. What are you talking about? He went with his
LeBron?
original team. Yes. He went with the original Cavs and got swept. He took Mo Williams and a bunch of no names to the finals and got swept. And they hold it against him when he took a team that had no business being in the playoffs. But again,
Okay, but
I'm not gonna have a basketball debate on here. But they're 1 and 2. It doesn't matter. I'm not gonna argue. I don't care. I don't really even know who's 1 and 2. They're both 1 and 2. It doesn't even matter what order you have them in. But
Well, just in an analogy, my son 2 years in a row made the soccer finalist. I was the coach this last year. 2 years in a row, it goes to a shutout, right? And 2 year shootout. I'm sorry,
shootout.
goes to a shootout, penalty kicks. This is why I hate soccer. Okay,
coach, goddamn it.
okay, but 2 years in a row, we get second place.
Oh,
And
wow.
it's just wow, and you know,
Change the coach.
but it's like, and the kids are crying and we're losing. It's just this, but it's like, you got to remind them that, look, you got to the show, you're still bringing home medal, and there are other kids that are out there that didn't even win a game all season because you guys are a bunch of jerks, you know. So it's like, yeah, so it's as a football fan, you want to at least know that your team, through draft picks, your GM, at least you put together a fucking team that got there, right? Rather than just never getting there, you're never getting over that hump.
Drew,
Yeah.
would you rather make the fantasy football finals or get knocked out the round before?
I'm the second place god. That's what I am.
Oh, would you rather get knocked out before?
Well, I'd rather
have a
get there,
chance.
of course.
Huh?
I'd rather get there.
Oh,
Well, for
that's the
incentivized with
point.
money. You know what I mean?
That's the point.
But second place pays out, baby.
Yeah, I was gonna say, second place is still money. You know what I mean? So it's whatever. But yeah, dude, that's all I am, bro. I'm just second place. Fucking, I'm the guy. You know what I mean? It's me. Fantasy wise, fucking
Hey.
Niners, Lakers most of the time. Fucking horseshit.
I think that was a fantastic question, Jesus. You set them off. Man. That's what we're looking for here on the Sports Ranter. We're trying to get us to that point. So, but anyways, you guys, without further ado, that kind of cuts it for Week 10. If there's anything else you guys want to discuss, there's anything else that is hot topics this week,
Who's your guys' positionally fantasy MVPs
Ooh, thank
up
you.
to this point?
I like it.
Mine's pretty easy. It's Derrick Henry with 85 touchdowns. So
Yeah.
him, and actually, to be honest, even though he let me down this week, but Baker Mayfield's been holding it down for me. I picked him up off waivers after week 1 or 2.
Yeah.
Drafted Caleb Williams and Aaron Rodgers. Those were good draft picks. So
James Conner's been awesome.
Yeah, I mean, my team's most points, so there's a few guys that I love on that team. But MVP, I drafted him 1 overall because I said, I think he's gonna have 20 touchdowns, and he's on that pace, so he hasn't let me down. So I got to go Derrick Henry for my.
What is Derrick Henry at right now? I think he's gonna beat 20.
He's at 12 or 13, I think, already.
Huh.
So I don't know exactly off the top of my head.
I was trying to identify the best receiver. Usually there's a receiver who breaks away. And I don't think we have that this year, really. It was Chris Godwin, I think, if he had continued. And obviously Nick had him too. And so, but they're just, obviously that year there was CeeDee Lamb, right? Last year. He was obviously just every week on point. So I don't know if we have that this year at receiver or tight end. But obviously, I'm going to have to agree, Derrick Henry, he just sets so far away. But even Lamar for the quarterbacks, it's pretty crazy how much he's producing, and so, but I agree with Nick.
I mean, as far as the receiver goes, man, the guy who just fucking had, 230 yards and 260 yards and 3 touchdowns. I mean, Jamar Chase is still lighting it up. I mean, yeah, he's going to have weeks where he struggles, but every receiver is going to have struggles. There's never really a super consistent receiver where he just gets, yards after yards after yards. I mean, Justin Jefferson, even with Sam Darnold at quarterback, is still producing. Like, there's not a lot that you can say, but there's definitely been some flops in receiver. Like, I think that's the position this year that you can look to and be like, yeah, that guy's not really producing as much as I thought he would. Amon-Ra St. Brown, AJ Brown, obviously he got hurt.
AJ Brown was I think he was the 4th receiver, like ADP wise, between a few different platforms. I have him in my league. He was my first round pick, and he's wide receiver 11 right now, or 16 right now. And I mean, he missed games and all that, but something's up with the Eagles. Like they're not targeting downfield. It's a weird year for receivers, because I don't think there's one receiver right now that has like met their ADP at the beginning of the year. So it's a really weird year. Tight end wise, Drew, you should be on this. Kittle, man, like every year people forget about Kittle, and he's been a monster. He's just been out of control. So, but looking at those value picks and things like that, Connor, I forget what round he was taken in, but my God, dude, that guy just doesn't stop.
I think Nick made a solid point at the beginning of the season. I think we are seeing some kind of setback with the refs as far as the pass game is concerned. People are tired of seeing all the 500-yard games. We're hardly seeing 300-yard games this season from any quarterback, right? The running backs are actually the ones following through in my fantasy teams. My running backs are still following through, and they're just fine.
It's a running back season.
Yeah. But where's my receivers? It's crazy, and so it's interesting. So, but Nick,
I've been starting 3 to 4 running backs almost every year in some of my leagues. The last 2 to 3 years. There's no way unless you did the Arg Papa and went freaking 4 running backs in a row, like 5 running backs. Like, I don't even remember the last year I would start 4 running backs. Like,
especially
I've
in a full
done that a
point
couple
PPR.
times this year.
Full point PPR,
Yeah, you're gonna go receiver all day long on your flex and stuff. I've been going running back.
So I got one more question. Now, sorry, I'm not trying to, prolong this just because I got nothing else to do tonight, and I'm sure everyone's got kids and shit. But this is legitimately. So not fantasy, not fantasy wise or whatever, not, nothing with fantasy, but in 5 years, this quarterback draft class that just came out, who's the best quarterback? Who's got the best career out of these quarterbacks? I gotta say Bo Nix next.
I'll still stick with Caleb Williams.
What?
This year?
No. He said the next 5.
Next 5 yeast. At five years.
At the 5-year mark, we're gonna re-rate them. Who's the better quarterback?
That means you have to have faith in the Bears, front office and franchises. So okay, shit.
It's hard to argue.
Drew.
Oh man, I'm torn between Bo Nix and Jaden Daniels, dude. Because the thing is Jaden Daniels is such a small stature that he can get a couple big hits, and then his career kind of goes how it normally goes for mobile quarterbacks. But I think I'd have to go with Jaden Daniels, dude. I mean, barring injury, I think you guys already heard it. Like, everybody keeps talking about these guys want to go play with Jaden Daniels. Like, people are trying to get over to Washington to go play with him. I think he has the whole league on alert, and I like the dude, man.
Yeah, but I think someone made a good point. There's something about the organization, and so we'll see if that will we'll see.
I get it.
A Panthers fan would know that.
Whoa.
Terry McLaurin here. You got a lot of stuff there. He doesn't have like a solid running back yet that he really has to like deal with. So I mean, obviously the weapons can go away for him. But if they're able to get somebody, I mean, they definitely wanted to get Ayuk. I mean, they want to trade, and they want to get receiver for him. So if they give him a solid one down the road, and somehow maybe they keep McLaurin, Like, dude, that'd be pretty sick. Like, if McCormick can stay and they give themselves another younger option, they can be dominant for a while. Especially, I mean, the NFC East is going to be, pretty hard to win year in year out with Hurts and everybody else there. But I think they'll be in the thick of it for a while.
I do like what Bo Nix is putting up, but if Jalen Daniels is for real and it continues, I believe it's Jalen Daniels, and so we'll continue that conversation continuing forward as we continue, guys, on next week, right? 6 p.m. Tuesday live right here at the Sports Ranter. Just real quick, Jake, I can't open it up. I have to close it out. But Seth did say that you're smoking crack about the Eagles not throwing the downfield. But we'll open that up next week.
And the AJ Brown, I mean, I don't know what else to tell you. Like,
So,
especially the way Saquon's been playing, I mean, I don't know what to tell you.
that's perfect. We'll talk about it next week. I want to say thank you guys for joining us, Jake, Drew, and Nick for hosting. Thank you guys for commenting and joining us, all of our viewers. Thank you again, once again. Peace with the journey. One love.
Peace.
Right here at the
Later,
Sports
boys.
Ranter.
Take care, host.